Yo, welcome back to Activated, the future of content. This is your boy OG Baka, aka Bacardi Limon, aka Baka Flocka the God, aka Baka Flocka Flame, aka Pretty Brown Eyes. And we're back.
What's up, man?
Moss is here.
Bacardi Limon? That's a new one, bro. That's a new one.
It's an oldie but goodie.
I swear, every episode, my man has a
Yo,
another
what is going on?
You sending the vibes
Speaking
out
of what's
straight,
going
right?
on, what's going on, bro?
Hello, yo.
Yo,
What's
who
up?
are we talking to right now, bro?
There's this guy, right? And he's just like in the radio station, just like sitting here, and we're all trying to figure out who he is. And that guy is me, Josh Craig. I'm here, stoked to be here. I got this microphone in my face. Very intimidating, man. I'm just like, don't get too far, but don't get too close.
Yeah, no, they'll
We're
definitely-
here.
They stuff the mic in your face.
Yeah, it's all right, man. We're chilling. I'm down. I'm down to chat with y'all. This is cool. I got my little Muji notepad here.
Yeah,
Just
Josh,
sketching
shout
out
out.
That's a
some stuff.
Muji notepad.
Yeah.
That's vibes.
We're here. I've been trying to get that endorsement for the past couple years, man.
Yeah,
That's like
Oh, yeah.
minimalist, like king shit, right?
yeah,
Yeah, you can only write in this for a week.
yeah. You
Super
gotta throw
minimal.
that shit out.
Super
Yeah.
vibes. We're here to have we're gonna have a multifaceted conversation today. I think
I'm into it.
we're gonna get down to it, but before we get into it, just want to give a special shout out because it's been a wild week, yo.
Yes, it
R.I.P.
has,
Kobe.
man. Yeah.
R.I.P. Kobe Bryant, yo.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Bean.
that's the conversation, bro. Everybody is having
Yeah.
digitally and in person and in their minds, bro. That's it.
Dog.
The last couple of days.
Last couple of days, like Super Bowl's on Sunday. No one's talking about Super Bowl. It's all about
Yeah.
there's an impeachment inquiry. And
Nah, yeah.
it's all Kobe Bryant right now.
drowned. All of
You
it.
know, definitely crazy news. Definitely going too soon. Definitely a legend on the basketball court and an
For sure,
inspiration
yo.
to not just athletes but like creatives in general. Like too, like it's crazy how much like just someone can impact people worldwide. So definitely shout out to Kobe Bryant. Shout out to his family.
Yes.
Shout out to everybody grieving. Hope you grieve safely. Grieve in your way. But be safe.
The thing about Kobe, man, that's interesting is like after he retired, he was all about storytelling. That was his
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, man. He was like, yo, I just want to tell stories. And the
Absolutely.
thing is, we've seen Kobe since he was like 17 on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he
Yo.
seems a lot older than 41, bro. And
Yeah, for sure.
honestly, like,
Yeah,
I
for
didn't
sure.
realize like just how many like they do like the recaps of like how many music
Yeah.
videos he was in, like playing like the guy in the R&B videos
Yeah.
back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, bro.
Or like how he was like a
Yeah.
guest star like Moesha
Yeah.
and shit. Like
You're
Voices
right,
on the
man.
Proud Family. Like he was really like a
everywhere,
content
man.
king. Like
Yeah, he was all
was.
over the place. That
Yeah, I
was
mean-
pretty. Yeah, he was. I remember he was the afro packing like all the little UPN9 shit.
Yeah.
yeah, right. With this little app, right? He was rapping.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, R.I.P. Kobe
Damn,
Bryant,
Yeah,
yo.
man. Yeah,
I
that was
mean,
such
get
a-
into Black
that
Mamba.
shit, like, I could just,
Yeah,
damn.
for sure.
Yeah, I can't even watch the news. Like, it's been crazy. Like, I have to change the channel. Podcasts are talking about. I don't even want to listen to the podcast. It's been wild. So, but
man.
let's keep it moving. Josh
What's
Craig.
up? Hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. Should I just get into whatever's
So-
going on? Or you guys want to ask me some
So,
stuff?
like, you're one of those cats that's like, you're like a little bit of everything. A lot. Maybe you'd say you do a lot of nothing because it's just so natural.
Yeah.
But what is it that you do, brother, man?
I design a lot of things. I direct a lot of things, and I'm really good at pattern recognition. That's what I'm really good at. That's the thing that people see the most
Yeah.
is me figuring out patterns and how to solve things. Like, that's the thing people see the most. But I'm really good at just designing and directing. I can make a lot of cool things, and I can direct people, especially with, like, doing music, like DJing or singing. Is like you directing people's emotions, and then with like the zine and like my synthesizer is like, design, like sound design and visual design.
So let's take a step back,
Yeah.
because I don't really know who Josh is. The Josh. Because I think you put D in front
the
of your
Josh
name, right?
Craig, yeah.
The Josh Craig.
Mhm.
So like, let's talk about how a wild Josh Craig appears at the Eaton Hotel.
Yeah,
Because
how'd you
that's
get
literally
here?
why you're here, right? Like,
Yeah,
we work
yeah.
here, we work at the house, we see you walking around. I mean, this space that we're in right now is like kind of like where you started, right?
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about like your residency here at the Eaton. You know what I'm saying? Like how you got connected and why you're sitting here with us right now.
Yeah, so about last year, Andrew Grant brought me down here for New Year's to DJ on the roof, and it was pretty cool at Wild Days. It was really rad, and I wound up, chatting with Sheldon and Sebi, and everybody was like, really cool because I came down for music, but I also told them about all the other stuff I do.
Yeah.
Like photography and shooting cool little analog videos and stuff. And they were really into it. So they asked me to come back down for a DJ residency like once every 3 months.
Okay.
So, I first met Andrew Grant in New York at Halcyon, which is a record store, because I'm heavy into vinyl,
yeah.
So while we was there, I was doing a performance, and this is when I was working with Looking Glass. It's like Looking Glass Factory. It's like a volumetric display company. So when I was at the record store, I brought these LED volumetric like displays that have like accelerometers in it, so they react to the sound.
right,
And I like
sound,
put them all in the space of the record store. And then I brought in these holographic displays that Looking Glass makes, and people were interacting with them, and it was really cool. And the record store made it like an
dope.
arcade. Yeah, it had some projectors too, and we're doing like, sound triggered projections in there, and it was really dope. And people were sort of like, they never saw a record store like that. It was
Yeah.
like the future of a record store. I sort of wanted to take it to that extent, and it actually looked really fly. And then I played some really good music and performed, and it was really tight. And then after that, Andrew had came down here, and he was, I guess told them about the stuff I do and the people who I work with in New York and abroad. And they thought it was really cool to have me down here. So whenever I come down for music, I would always pitch something else.
Yeah.
Like,
That's smart.
well,
Always be pitching.
That's smart.
Always be pitching.
yeah, I'd be pitching it. I would be throwing like straight strikes, every time, because I'd be like, all right, well, what if I wanted to like screen a film, and what if I wanted to do a book release, or do like a little photo exhibit, or to have my zine be here, or to do something with like interviewing the artist or working on designs of stuff, like they was just like, yeah, all right, whatever. And then, over that year, from last year's New Year's to this year, the relationship grew, and I did all the things that I asked them if I could do. They were like, yeah. And they would always like, provide me with a space of comfort and
They were
like,
supportive of the vision.
yeah, heavy duty support. I was a little bit
The support could be like different at
Take it
first.
back.
You could be.
I was just into it. I was just pumped up. Like, this is kind of cool. Like, I can do whatever, because, my ideas are something that's very inclusive and community based, and it's super like heavy sustainable, and I'm super cheap with the way I move, because the way my brain works, I don't need to have a lot of different elements being placed. I can just like process it and,
Keep it moving.
Like that.
see if it works, and if it works, develop it. If not, move on. That's how I move, so it's easier working with like clients, anybody who's in any type of relationship that they're funding or anything like that. Is like, I'm gonna move the way I move, and it's very like strategic. So while I'm here, it's like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And when most people go somewhere for a music residency, they think they're just gonna be making music in the studio all day. But
Yeah.
like,
Honestly, bro, that's what I thought when I saw you outside
mm-hmm.
the first time. I
Yeah.
thought that's what it was. But it's dope. You do a lot of other things too, man.
Yeah.
That's dope. You know, you threw out a lot of dope things about like, you know, sound triggered, you know, projections, but I also hear like the analog aspect of it. Like you're really heavy into vinyl, which I am too. I'm actually going to hit you with something at the end of our conversation related to that.
Okay.
But like, where did the idea to bring one? How do you find out about all this new tech that you use in your arts and in visuals, and like how do you come across that? And then why do you blend that with the analog, the old school, you know, way of doing things?
Yeah, I mean, I meet a lot of the people who I interact with on a tech state, doing music, traveling. You know, my art takes me places, and I interact with everybody wherever I go, sparking conversations, you know, interesting points of interest. Groovy. I mean, I'm a stylish dude, you know. If I walk into a room and people see me there and they're like, "What are you doing here?" and I'm like, "I'm in all this real groovy
shit.
stuff." Yeah, like, "What's up?" And they're like, "Oh, then you should meet this person." Simply based off of, well, if you really into it, then you should meet this person or so and so. And if it's not that, then it's the music. And if it's not the music, it's like who I'm there with, you know. I'm super verbal. Whenever I go somewhere, I'm like just talking to people, you know. I'm not befriending everybody. I just like spark conversation. I'll always learn something, you know.
Yeah.
The best thing for me when I do meet people who are into technology and stuff like that, I always ask them, well, when are they available to try something out? And I'll maybe come to their lab, or they'll come to my
That's low-key a
lab.
gym. Of
Yeah.
a question to ask people.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a break in their schedule, or they finish something. It's like, you know, it'll only take like a few hours to mess around.
Because no one asks.
Yeah, no one asks, and then they see you ask, and they're like, "Oh, actually, he's kind of down." And then if you really got the juice, which I have, you know, they're down to be like, "Yo, would you be into like starting to be in a partner or something, or involved in this, whatever?" Like, yep, like, let's go, because it's either you learn something or you get funding, and then you know you meet people, and then you start to incorporate what you are experiencing in those laboratories and your experiments, you know. Like, be like, "Oh, I'm doing a show, let me get a projector, and I'm doing like a set, you know, let me put this analog piece of gear into this new piece of tech, and then bridge them and give people like, you know, a foreign experience."
Yeah, it's the foundation of how you become creative. Like, you just picking up different ideas along the way and then splicing it with your own experience and the way that you see things.
It's inclusive, you know. It's very inclusive. Older people, younger people see like, all right, he's using stuff we know, and older people like, he's using stuff we know.
Yeah.
And everyone's involved. You know what I mean? They can always take something from it. Either it's a memory trigger, or it's something that they've been expecting, you know. So I'm down to bridge. I like to bridge. There's a lot of walls. I'd rather, you know, build a bridge, you feel me?
What were some of those musical influences, like when you were growing up or when you were just like getting into the art scene, that were like kind of defined and still a part of who you are today?
12-minute tracks, like 12-minute long. Parliament, Parliament, Earth, Wind and Fire.
I know you're a Parliament guy.
You know, like very long, like, man, Weather Report type music, like, you know, Isaac Hayes, and, you know,
when Isaac Hayes or Curtis Mayfield hit you up for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just like vibing out, Maggot Brain type shit, Eddie Hazel type shit.
Yeah,
I'm
like
with you,
Lou
bro.
Rawls Live and stuff, and Grover Washington. Just all that type of music, just the longest tracks. Those are the things that intrigue me the most. I was like, how they going for so long?
Yeah.
And it keeps changing.
No words either sometimes.
Yeah, no words, just everyone finding their moment and going all the way right into the edge, and then falling back in line to finish what you started. Was just like, I was like, oh, that's pretty rad, huh? And I would just incorporate that in what I do, like, even the way I play my records. Like, people are like, man, they don't even know like what's going on sometimes. It's interesting. I always was just triggered by the long, funky stuff that was so free, and that's the type of art I like.
Yeah. It's
Free.
Those tracks were always interesting to me because it was like you had to engage with them differently, because you may hear, as you're listening to the 12-minute epic, you may hear 3 different songs you think, but that's all built off of like one theme of an emotion or a journey that artist was taking you on.
Yeah.
And so you're like you're listening like you're watching movies.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I like it to be 3-dimensional, you know. Always has like this, that, and that perspective, and then another perspective. You know, it's just like it keeps going, kind of keeps you triggered,
Yeah.
keeps you on, you know. Like I can't stop listening, or I can't step away from it.
Yeah.
Certain pieces of paint, you know, even on a certain canvas, like if you keep layering it, and then you start to position it, and then once you position it, you texture it. It's like you just keep adding more and more depth. Yeah, that's
more
like
depth to it.
that's just like the way I paint, you know. Even the way I paint, I like mess up the canvas, and I like get my paint real wet and thick, and then hit it with some, you know, something or whatever, just to get it real, like,
Right.
you know, like even
You
burn
gotta
the
make
canvas.
you make that shit come to life. You give it.
Yeah,
it's like
dude,
giving
it's
a character.
on everything I do. I'm like that. That's the same thing with the technology. Like I like mixed reality stuff. It's like I like to bring other perspective of life, even if it's AR stuff. Like, you know, I like to get freaky with design. Most of the stuff I'm making is very like what people call punk, you know, and DIY. And like I understand minimalist stuff. I understand like cubism. I understand abstract, all that stuff. You know, that's whatever to me. Like I get it, but I like to do my thing. Like
Absolutely.
even if it has its whatever nature, like I twist it or freak it a little bit.
Right.
Put like some, well, why does it look like that to
Yeah.
it? You know, like that's the punkness
You twist
to
what
it.
what the open perception of most people are gonna say
Yeah.
like, yo, this shit should go right, and you're gonna
Yeah,
yo, I need to make
absolutely.
it go left.
Yeah, I mean, if you like, I mean, I intentionally put like typos in my zine because I want people to not know it was a machine that made it. Because when they pick it up and find it at some point in the future, they're gonna be like, somebody made this, because it's like messed up. Like, what is it? Like,
It had
who
the
is
human
this?
error. It was human.
Yeah, it's like just like little Easter eggs, you know. I play a lot of games when I was a kid. I don't really play too much now, you know. I make more games than I play, but I like when I was a kid. I used to like the games that had Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Played a couple times over and over.
Yeah, you get some
Find
new shit,
something in
right?
there, you know, make you wanna appreciate the
Yeah,
people
you
who
gotta
made
find the
it
whistle
more.
of Super Mario 3, dog. I
Mhm.
understand.
Man, you want to get all the costumes, and you're like, how did these people make this?
Right.
You think it's just one layer, and then it keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. You're like, all right.
I think that was the Easter egg of this conversation right there.
Yeah.
That line.
There's a few of those. There's a few of those. Yeah.
What about on the visual side? You know, just like adding that depth. What would those influences?
Oh man, Mr. GIF, straight up. Like,
Mm.
that's all I gotta say about that. I don't got any other visual influence except Mr. GIF. That's it. Like, those my best friends right there. No one ever done what they did, like using GIFs and making advertising. I mean, like, it was the most searched word on the internet, I think, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was mainly because of Mr. GIF, dog, because no one was doing what they were doing, like just making. They pretty much made Tumblr like a percentage worth what it was worth, because the influencing of making people make these seamlessly flowing GIFs. Like everyone else didn't process how many colors you can use, how much seconds you can use to make a seamless GIF. Like telling these stories that were just looping over and over, but using different colors and using every aspect that you can just to make these things look perfect, and like all
Yeah.
analog shooting with film, like, you know, and just sketching and scanning sketches and step by step, really taking time for the smallest things. Like, that's what I learned from Mr. GIF, like, you know. Yeah.
That's crazy that
Yep.
you bring up Mr. GIF, or just like the Tumblr, or just like the digital way that you know people are like making content. I remember like just the first time I encountered GIFs was like on forums, like way back in the day in high school and shit.
Yeah.
You know, you remember when people used to like use them to like, you know, ask comments and shit like that, or like or even just to string them together. And I was like, it's crazy how now that is like
It's part of the lexicon now.
It's
Yeah.
a fucking
Talks in
lexicon. You
Yeah.
talking to them like you.
Yeah.
You can have a full ass conversation.
Yeah.
in GIF. You can
Yeah.
do this whole show in fucking GIFs.
Yeah.
And so I think
Yeah.
with the deeper
Absolutely.
conversation in that is that
Absolutely.
how
You're-
We
You really
sorry,
can.
I'll break
You
down.
really
we
You
should
really can.
we should put together some GIFs for all the post shows. that
Yeah.
shit we do
man.
here.
absolutely.
Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
You should.
No, but
Mine's wandering.
that made me jump to how like we communicate like wholly visually, or like how we can communicate by like not even speaking to each other, like
Yeah.
the languages that we use, or even like how you talked about like the death of sound and like pain. I was watching a YouTube video last night. I'm always watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, bro. YouTube University.
No,
out here.
I was watching. No, I was fucking watching Anthony Bourdain. Fuck that. That's what it was.
Tony.
I'm watching Anthony Bourdain, and he's in Turkey, and he's like going around with these people and shit, and they were like, "Yo, they communicate by whistling." And he was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he was like, "Yo." They'd be like, whoo. I can't whistle, but they was like, you know, doo-doo-doo. And then he was like, yo, what did he say? And he was like, yo, dude just said da 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 da. And then like he was like, but he was talking to like these like 80-year-old like old women in the village, and so they were like, yo, you can talk to him. He's like, nah. They was like, doo doo doo, and they was like, dee dee dee, and like they was like had a full conversation.
Wow.
And he was like, yo, like say a curse word, and then like they like did a curse word and the whistles or whatever, and the little kids was like ooh like that because like they understood it. And so I was like, yo,
Interesting.
that's crazy how sound and visuals, and you talking about like, you know, the 12-minute epic and telling,
Yeah.
talk about telling a story and the depth of sounds and how you layer that all in, like that's communication.
It
And
is.
it breaks down into that, you know, what you said about directing emotions, like
Yep.
because you're bringing out of people what through sound or through action or through visuals what they put away.
It's pretty funny that you mentioned Tony right after I brought up Mr. Gift. Like that's actually how I met Tony and
Oh,
the
word.
whole ZPZ production team. Shout outs to like Helen Cho. That's the homie. Yeah, we all met in New York because Helen, who is like, you know, was like the lead producer on the show, and like Anthony's like right hand chick was like a good friend of Mark and Jimmy. That's who like Mr. Giff is, and Nico, who's Mark's brother. Like, you know, we're all homies. You know, we would
Dope.
always like do the holiday parties, and like during Tumblr, they would always have like the holiday parties and the Fashion Week parties, and we had the Mr. Gift studio in Midtown, so it would be, you know, we would all go back to Mr. Gift studio and hang out and kick it and sesh and always go eat. And then, you know, we all became really good friends. And then, you know, whenever Parts Unknown and the whole production team were doing their parties, and they party hard, you know, so we would go to the Naval Yard or to like, what was it, Pork Slope, or to like all these other little spots back in the day, and hang out and like, you know, just have a fucking good time. And it was really dope because meeting Tony and hanging out with Helen and everybody, it was really fly, because that's just how next level Mr. Gift was. Like, you know, these fools are making graphics for the Super Bowl, for the Grammys. They like brought me all the way on a road trip to the US, funded in an RV down to Texas, and
That sounds
filmed
dope.
every stop along the way you could think of. Like, you know, we broke into the Six Flags abandoned one outside of New Orleans. Like, crazy stuff. Like, we went all the way, you know, like,
Yeah.
man, that was nuts. Like the power of the internet. I mean, you look at what people doing right now, those are the main advertisers, all the Tumblr kids.
Yeah.
If you
straight
really
up.
want to get into it, like, I can keep it real with you. A lot of the people who are making all these trending graphics, the ones who are leading all of these C4D renders, the ones who are like pioneering all of these like Unity devs, man, a lot of those dudes are my friends, bro.
Yeah.
We all started working together. We were making advertisements, the first digital advertisements, through Tumblr, yo.
Yeah.
Like, getting funded based off of how many people were using your
engaging
stuff,
or reposting and all that. Yeah.
right? So then you would get hired to just do it and put somebody else's logo on it, or come to their event
Yeah.
and use your, you know,
Your shit to make
whatever
something
stop frame at their event and grab it and reproduce it the same way you would put their name on it. That's how we first got started making money, was doing that. Like, a lot of us, you know, we had to make our little agencies through our websites or just through our Tumblr pages.
there. Yeah.
And then that evolved into like getting hired by like BBDO and IMG and all of these other agencies. You know what I mean? Because we were the easiest ones. We didn't have to, you didn't have to like go through
all the loops.
Yeah,
or
you
all
was
the
just
red
like
tape to work with us. It's like, tell them what the fuck you want.
here you are, your lead graphic designer or your lead video editor or your lead whatever, because you know how to render.
Yeah.
And because we knew how to render, it was always like 256. Like that's just what it always was. Like that's the max colors you can use in a GIF, but like that's the name, that's like the click. That's how we do it. I mean, if like Zolek or Trace Loops or like Sam Cannon, like these are all the homies. Like we've been doing this man forever. Like even like Reometry, like these are all the friends, like all the designers, like Kid Mograph, all of these people, like everybody's been doing this since.
Did you all meet online or was it all?
Yeah, I mean we met online, but then it was Valentine Uhovsky from Tumblr, who's now the CEO of Paddle 8. He's the one who brought us all together physically during the Tumblr creator parties. And that's what brought us all together. And the holiday parties and things like that, and the ones down at Art Basel. Like, that's what physically brought us together. Like, got us out from in front of our computers, and that's when we really started meeting each other. And then we would go back to the Mr. Gift studio and, like, really Mac. And next thing you know, we're all hanging out at each other's apartments, da-da-da-da. And now we all friends, like, crazy friends, like.
And what year was that? Like,
man, this is like this is over the past 6 years. We've all known each other. What is this, 2020? Yeah, for like the past 6 years, we've all been running with each other.
So where do you see it? I love that you talked about how, like, these brands and these agencies, started tapping those digital creators online. Because now you're seeing, the way that graphics and video are now coming together. You see TikTok is taking over. They just launched Byte this weekend. Vine is coming back. So, like, where do you see, like, the industry going from a design tip, but also, like, how do you see it, like, working with creatives? Like, how has that, like, changed? Is it for the good? Is it for the better? Like, is it still the same playing field? Has it become, more suits? What is it?
I mean, of course, it's there's no other way but suits at this point. I mean, we can't even talk to each other without suits. I mean, the suits are the ones who fund the digital platforms.
Yeah.
Not everybody's writing script. If everybody was, then you wouldn't need a suit, because you can all talk to each other in your own language. But until people get to that point, you're always gonna need a suit. It's always gonna be like, well, how do we talk to each other? We gotta speak somebody else's language just so we can fully communicate. And at that point, your message is already transcribed. So, it's always gonna be suits. But when you talk about anyone who needs exposure or anyone who needs to connect on a general platform, then it's a good thing. But it's about what's being exposed. If you're just gonna be laughing and dancing and like shucking and jiving on the internet for videos, like, I don't really care. Like, show me something that's gonna visually stimulate me or teach me something.
Right. Don't dilute the art in that way.
Yeah, because this is like, you gotta remember, like, this is the internet. Like, the stuff people are making has always been next level. Like, even like the video games, just forward jump, left, right. Like, that stuff is hard to make. People still don't know how to make those games run as long and as smooth as they were.
As they want to, right?
Yeah, using those long computers, those old processor computers, and you are writing all that out in numbers. Like, that stuff is still foreign. Binary code is still foreign to people.
Most people, right?
It's very foreign to most of the nation. It's foreign. A lot of programs just give you templates and they give you assets so you can
and just swap it out.
Exactly. You don't even really need to write much at this point. All you need to know is how to select and how to smoothen things out.
Right.
Using like Maya and all this stuff, you can really just get gestures and just put them in a timeline and pretty much just make a movie out of
just putting stuff together.
Puzzle pieces. That's what I was saying by patterns.
Right.
Like, you could just recognize patterns. It's like all these programs start to look the same, like Ableton, Logic, Unity, Blender. All of the stuff starts to look the same after a while. You're like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, make it smart enough for a dummy.
Right.
Because you have to make it smart enough for a dummy and complex enough for an expert, so everyone will feel like, I want to use it long enough to buy, then start buying assets. So that's how companies can exist. It's like, it has to be available. And if you only make it exclusive for people who are high dev level, but they're not going to want to buy it, because it's like, you got to make stuff for clients, and that's the cheap, easy stuff. And I've learned that, like, if you're highly advanced And clients want you to make something. They're not hiring you to make highly advanced stuff. They're hiring you to make the simple stuff because they know you're smart enough to make the most next level stuff, then you must be capable enough to make the light stuff.
Right.
Like I've learned that because if you sometimes go so hard, they'll be like, damn, can we afford this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Straight up, you know, you got to be like, all right, give them what you can afford, and I'll add in the option of what is that exclusive thing. Like that's
Yeah.
what these programs do now. They give you the option to go exclusive. Like you know what I mean, you learn that stuff from doing tech, even with your music or your visuals. Like, you know what I mean, give somebody a little bit of sun and throw in that, oh yeah, I made this too, bang,
Yeah.
I can do this, whoa.
Yeah. Just drive it on them easy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's important.
Well, you're
Very
talking
important.
binary. Let's shoot forward, because I know Andrew was talking about, you got an AR VR project that you're working on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know what that's about.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to simulate people interacting in the hotel, but in AR. So I'm just taking 3D objects and putting them in a 2D plane. So I'm just trying to make it look cool. But the thing is, using different hardware. Like I have an Android phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Note. It's pretty specific. And then there's iPhones, and that OS is a lot different. And then there's also iPads, and then there's mobile, and
It's
then
all
there's
different,
web.
depending
Yeah,
on the
so
tool that
everything
you're
would have
using
to be
visualize it.
everything would have to be rendered to a certain standard.
Yeah.
So I'm like, first of all, I don't have the GPU computer here. All that's in New York. I wasn't bringing that down here. That's the baby that stays up there.
Yeah.
But what I am thinking about doing is making two options, making one that's specific to like one piece of hardware here and just making it like the house thing, using the iPad or whatever that's here. Or I'm thinking about making a visual render of the scene and what it looks like and just uploading it to the web base. And then going on the website, and then once you enter it, it can show you what it looks like as you walk through and over a timeline, like So there's two options. It's like do that, and then possibly, if I have time, to make like a little beta app where you can use it's open source, where you can just put your phone up in certain rooms, just in certain rooms at a certain point.
In certain places.
Yeah, and just have little things pop up like.
Easter eggs, if you
Yeah, because that's what most people experience when they see AR on their mobile stuff. They just see 3D objects interacting in a 2D plane.
Right.
Like, to really track and do things like that, a lot of people's phones can't process that.
Yeah.
It'll just jump and jag so much, like it'll just jigsaw like crazy. Like it won't. You need to have someone come and map out a space for your phone to really run as smooth as you think it would, unless you have trackings in the corner like Oculus stuff, and HTC. So you gotta have the little dots in the corner.
Yeah, dots to see everything right.
Yeah, if you really want to get it in there,
Right.
because they're tracking bodily motion through
so
wearables.
much distance that they cover.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you gotta think about what's really going on in your phone when people are like, oh yeah, an AR in a hotel is like, bro, like I need the blueprints of the hotel if you really want me to go just stupid.
Right. You really
Like,
want me to make this
Yeah, you
immersive,
want to go
right?
up the stairs and have people get freaky. Like I would have to go up at certain heights and
map
go
that
every
out.
couple steps, and people would have to only have their phones at certain heights. Is measuring out the space and bringing in architecture to simulate actual design is like, that's a whole other level. But just making it so you can put up, go at certain points and have people start to like fade out of a room or so, out of a door, and make like they're walking in a hallway. That stuff is possible. It just takes it takes a little bit of time to render. That's all, And it's fun because then you start making 3D objects come your way, and they're making tracking a whole lot easier, yo.
Yeah.
Adobe just introduced something, I forget the name of it, but you can really just walk around and get real dirty. Like, I'm very interested in finishing the magazine this week and going into closing out the last week by like getting into the 3D rendering and finalizing and presenting everything I've been working on.
Dope.
And that's going to be really tight. It's actually going to be really fun, yo, because even as I'm talking about it, I'm just like, yeah, making
Right,
things
yeah.
move is fun. You know, I already got the scenes really like tiled out and ready. It looks like the hallways. It looks like the offices and stuff, and you just
There you
want to
go.
like just try to make it look cool. You know.
I dig it. I dig it.
hmm
That's what
Yes.
we're doing, bro. Just trying to make shit look cool.
Yeah, I mean, y'all got some really cool questions going on, and
Yeah, man.
y'all doing some really groovy stuff too. Andrew speaks really highly of y'all, and I was like really looking forward to this. I woke up hella early and like worked out and
Yeah, man.
didn't.
Yeah, man. You know,
Go
we're
to
all
sleep too late.
about just like creativity, content,
Mhm.
tech, like
Mhm.
all the new ways that like it blends together, and really about how like it's creating the world that we live in and how it's changing the way that we communicate.
Yes.
You know, like this all kind of started with like podcasting, and that's why I talked to you about like analog and like
Yes.
new shit, because like
Yes.
I'm doing nothing but a radio show. We're doing nothing but a radio
Right.
show here,
Mhm.
but yet this is the new digital way to
I
like
mean, hey.
reach people and like seriously like build movements. Like
I mean, this isn't just radio. This is like a signal transmission.
exactly.
You're sending out a beacon, and whoever picks it up is going to be brought into what it is you're saying. At least brought into a point of paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and once people pay attention, they can really connect with you. If you're speaking something of like that has a positive nature, you know, it's like, all right, they're down for what I'm about. Like, let me hear what they got to say. You know, and then next thing you know, maybe they'll be attending something, or
Right.
they'll just be showing love at another level. Like, it's just you just sending out that signal. You feel me? Like, I'm really into radio. Like, I like frequency modulation. I like messing around with signals, and I like radio. And my friends who have podcasts,
Broadcast,
yeah, I tell them like, man, y'all doing some real serious stuff here. You know, don't take it lightly. You know, I know what's going on right here. Like, whenever anybody does come across the path, they're like, damn, this is kind of sick.
Yeah.
And they're hooked, you know? They're hooked as long as it exists. They're hooked. It's tight.
Dope, man. Dope. So, you know, before we wrap up, I actually want to talk to you about. I want to dig deep into the vinyl.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Yeah, man, because I'm a vinyl head myself.
Yeah.
And you know, I love to crate dig. I'll actually go broke crate digging.
Is that right?
Yeah, man. So what?
I know a friend or two like that.
So, what's your most recent purchase that you were like, you found it, you were like, yo, I'm glad I found this, or maybe a pleasant surprise?
Man. Man.
Hit you with a hard one, right?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be like a counter, but it's not really a counter. It sort of is. It's like every week, especially when I'm in New York, and I was in Germany last month.
Germany's
Every
a great
week,
spot.
I was in Berlin. Every week, someone's giving me records, man. Like, just giving me. I get at least 3 to 7 records per week of people just giving them to me.
Wow.
Just interacting. Like, all my friends, we're all in the records. So if they're gonna introduce
Just
you,
trade up.
you gotta meet my friend. They're like, oh, they gotta do records. Like, oh snap! Like, Josh is ahead. I'm gonna give him a record because I know he either gonna play it or he gonna tell me how he feels. And next thing you know, you got one, or like, oh yeah, here, take this and my last release,
Right.
and you got another. And then I'll go hang out with my dad, you know, and his friends will be cleaning out that basement, and he'll be like, here,
It's
you know,
always-
just
that's
take
what
that whole
happens, bro.
collection. I'll like leave with like 600, 700 records of just all 70s, late 60s, really early 80s, sometimes 90s house, just all played like 4 or 5 times tops.
Wow.
Man, and I'll get just like gifted crates so much to the
Where do you
point where
store this
like
shit, dog?
Yeah, right?
it's just, it gets crazy after a while. Like, you start to stash them. You stash them in different countries. Like, I'm gonna fly 60 over to this country with me. I'm gonna fly like 30 over here. Go bring some to this city. Bring some to this and just stash them, because you can't really keep them all in one place.
Where you got them stashed here, bro? Where is your stash here?
There's about to be a little TJC crate over there somewhere. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I get a lot of records. I mean, I was at Bump and Grind. That was pretty cool. But man, the last record that I bought was like a JTC. It was like a, damn, it's a JTC record. I forget the name of it. It's a bop side from Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's a techno record. Man, Tad Mullenix. I mean, it's his label. I forget the name of the album, but if you go on bop side, you'll get anything that JTC releases is fire. You know, like, so that was the last thing I got. Yeah.
Dope.
Mm-hmm.
That's good shit. It's funny that you mentioned, you know, going to your pops and getting them like out the basement.
Mm-hmm.
My pops literally for the holidays, he dropped a crate on me,
Hmm.
and he dropped a crate on me that he had found, like cleaning out an old crib, like just some old disco records. And he was like, "Yo, you might find some gems in here," and it definitely had a mint condition Stevie Wonder Intervisions in that.
That'll do it.
And he gave me we still had our old like surround sound system from like the early 90s.
Hello.
That, you know, the old mixer that you can press it, like six CD changer.
That's right.
And like they dropped my old, like they gave me back my CD collection because they were like, "Yo, we're not holding this no more." So I was like, "Yo, give me the old joint." So now I have like this total old school setup, vinyl, 6 CD changer, tape, FM, radio.
The classic
So-
stereo receiver.
Exactly. So
You know how it's
I'm
supposed to be.
analoging it. I mean, I want to have like a fully analog vintage system up in the
Get the
crib.
dual deck.
Yeah.
Just get two of them and just start doing
Stack 'em all, right.
DJing cassettes.
Yeah, man. So.
DJing cassettes.
Go all the way,
It's like,
bro.
hold up, guys. Let me open this
Yeah.
up real
Yo,
quick.
I'm
Yep,
surprised
yep.
that
Turn
that
this
doesn't
shit
come around
on.
like a lot more.
Push
I
it,
would-
push
that's
it.
Tip your
definitely out more.
bartender.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I've
why I
done it.
love
I've done
change
it.
this shit up.
I've done it at my resident party in Greenpoint at Magic City. I do bring my cassettes. I bring my dual decks out, and then that was the only, because we don't have CDJs in there, and if
Yeah.
it's not a dub plate or a flexi, I don't really got any way to play my tracks that ain't like pressed up. So I bring the dual deck out and just make a few tapes and just, you know, run a tempo speed on it to blend it, and then yeah.
Technical, but easy.
Yeah,
Technical
yo.
with ease, bro. I think I had to be the title of this episode, bro.
Yeah.
Technical with
Yeah,
ease.
very dirty,
We'll
bro.
meditate on it.
Yeah.
But I got a couple names. One of them is Freaky. Just call it
Freaky
Oh,
baby.
freaky.
Freaky
Freaky,
baby.
bro.
You gotta get freaky.
Yeah, you may be
Baby.
good with a hipster band name too. Like,
What? Which one?
no, like you may be able to give us a good one.
Oh, what was the one we just came up with just now? The one before Freaky.
Before freaky.
The one before freaky, bro.
You know what I'm talking about? What the fuck
Bro.
was it?
What if I
Technical
was-
with ease, bro.
Yeah,
That's a good
technical
one.
with ease.
Damn.
Technical with ease is a
Damn.
good hipster band name.
That's
So we do this. We always riff off each other about hipster band names. So we come
Yeah.
up with a band randomly, like what Cats of the Currency was one.
Cats of the Currency, like Winter Weight, but you can't just stop with the name. The whole thing is like, if you come up with something like that, like Technical with Ease, then you gotta go the whole way. You gotta like explain who's in this band. If it's like just yourself, or it's a singer, or it's a group, or it's an indie band, or it's a fucking rapper, or whatever. It is. Like how they came to be, what the meaning of that word, and why they call themselves that.
damn. I
And
like
then,
this.
like morbidly, or like however you want to run it.
How they broke
It's
up.
like how they broke up, or like what made him successful, and like
Mm-hmm.
you got to run the whole story. It's up to you. Be as creative as you want with it.
Hmm.
So from there, we grow the narrative around like each one of these random groups.
I
And
see.
Each one of these groups is called a creature,
Oh.
and these creatures
Whoa.
get together for a creatures festival that we're putting together
Yeah.
in 2022.
And so we're creating tour merch to go along with the bands.
Damn, this is getting deep.
Yeah.
So you know the girl that's coming up here tonight, the owner of the vintage shop in Asborgian.
Yeah.
that you're gonna slide through on.
Yep.
So she's gonna help us put together some type of sustainable fashion line that's running this creature campaign.
Whoa.
So that's why I wanted to rap with you about that with her. And the audience is not going to hear that conversation, but
Okay.
they're going to know that it started
All
here.
right. Sick.
But yeah, you got to come
That
up
was-
with the band name.
All right, cool,
That's the
man.
homework.
Yeah. All right, I'm good at homework. That was sick.
But yeah, man, thanks for the time, bro. It was really
Yeah,
dope.
man.
I
Appreciate
really
you.
sure.
appreciate
Dope
listening to you, man.
conversation.
Yeah, I hope I wasn't too like, deep.
No, it was perfect, bro. I was listening. It was good, man. It's
Nice.
technical, but like with ease, you know.
Yeah.
Well, check. With
I
that
like
being
it.
said, this has been Activated, the future of content. It's your boy OG Baka. Moss is here.
The Josh
And-
Craig, baby. You know what it is, baby. In DC, I'm out here. If you're looking for me, baby, I'm out here. 531. Come find me.
See, yo, that's the energy I've
Boop,
seen.
boop, 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 boop.
Where you been, bro?
Hit me with that. 531, baby. I'm upstairs. You got one more week.
Yo, you
Come
got
get
the
me.
room number, yo. You find me in 531.
Yeah,
like
you
room
know.
112.
You can't get in without the key, but I'm here.
Yo,
What's up? Where can we
that's what
find
it
you on
is.
social, man? Is there anybody can like find your work?
Yes, thejoshcraig.com.
Okay, that's it. Just simple. Just
That's it.
clean.
That's it.
All right, bet.
Yeah, you'll figure out the rest. It's too easy. If it's thejoshcraig.com, I'm pretty sure
There's
you
bios
know
on every social.
exactly. You know exactly what the rest of everything else is. Probably the Josh Craig. So
All right, man.
thejoshcraig.com/music/photo/video/store. /everything.
Everything.
Dope.
All right, G.
It's good.
Holla at us.
Yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. See you next time, and have a very good life.
Yeah, dog. Hey, we should end everything with "Have a good life."